There was once a man who felt invisible to the world. No money, no direction, no real hope for tomorrow. But everything changed because of one small decision. He began waking up at 5 o'clock a.m. not once, not when he felt like it, but every single day. And in just 90 days, his life didn't just improve, it transformed. What he did during those quiet morning hours might surprise you. And it might be exactly what you've been missing. But before we go further, think about this. What time is it where you are right now? And where are you listening from? Take a second and reflect on that. Now, let me tell you his story. In a town that never seemed to rest, where machines hummed and smoke hung in the air, lived a man named Daniel. He was 32. Every evening, Daniel reported for duty as a night guard, and every morning, when the world began to wake up, he was heading home. His pay barely covered rent. He lived in a cramped, dim room with peeling paint and a flickering bulb. His mattress lay directly on the floor. The heat was unbearable, but none of that hurt as much as the feeling of being stuck. Every morning, he would glance into lit windows, families sharing breakfast, children laughing, men preparing for work with purpose. And Daniel would wonder, is this all my life will ever be? He wasn't lazy. Far from it. He worked long hours, stayed alert, showed up every single night. But nothing changed. And deep down, a question kept echoing in his mind. There must be another way. Right. One morning, everything shifted. His phone rang just as his shift ended. It was his younger sister. Her voice was shaking. 3 hours later, Daniel stood beside a hospital bed. His mother looked smaller than he remembered. Weaker. The doctor explained she had collapsed from exhaustion. She needed care. Things Daniel couldn't afford. She reached for his hand. My son, don't spend your life struggling like I did. Please, find a better way. That moment stayed with him. Not as sadness, but as something sharper. A quiet anger. Outside the clinic, the sky was just beginning to lighten. It was early. Around 5 o'clock and the village was silent. The air felt different, still, clear, and Daniel felt awake not just physically, but mentally. I can't keep living like this, he whispered. Something has to change. On his way back to the city, something unusual caught his attention. Across from him sat a well-dressed older man reading a book. Daniel hesitated, then asked, Sir, why are you out this early? The man smiled. Because the early hours belong to those who want more from life. That conversation changed everything. The man explained success was built through discipline, waking up early, using quiet hours to learn, think, and grow, while others sleep. He said, You build. Daniel listened carefully. For the first time, it sounded logical. The next day, Daniel adjusted his sleep, and when his alarm rang at 5 o'clock a.m., every part of him wanted to quit. But he didn't. The first week was brutal. He was tired, irritated, unfocused, but he kept going. At 5 o'clock a.m., he sat with his phone and began learning. Free lessons, new skills. At 6 o'clock a.m., he stepped outside, walked, breathed, cleared his mind. Day after day, he repeated the process. Around the third week, something shifted. Waking up became easier. His mind became sharper. What once felt forced started to feel natural. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was progressing. By the second month, the results became visible. He had gained knowledge, energy, confidence. People started noticing. You seem different, they told him. He just smiled. Because he knew something they didn't. He was rebuilding his life, one morning at a time. By the third month, opportunity came knocking. Daniel improved a system at his workplace. It caught attention. And soon, an offer followed. A better position, daytime work, double the income. 90 days earlier, he was stuck in a cycle. Now, he was stepping into a new life. Not because of luck. Not because someone rescued him. But because he chose to change how he used his time. A year later, everything looked different. He lived better, earned more, and most importantly, he had control over his future. But one thing never changed. Every morning at 5 o'clock a.m., he still woke up because he understood something most people don't. Success isn't one big moment. It's a daily decision. So here's your moment. Tonight, set your alarm for 5 o'clock a.m. not 5:10. Not, I'll try. Make it a decision. Then ask yourself one simple question. What will I build in my first hour? A skill? A dream? A better version of yourself? Pick one thing and commit to it for the next 90 days. No excuses. No negotiation. If you're serious about changing your life, don't just listen, prove it. Drop a comment and write, I'm starting tomorrow at 5 a.m. That's your commitment. That's your line in the sand. Hit like so you remember this moment. Tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock a.m. Your future is waiting. The only question is, will you be awake to meet it?